Welcome to Death Valley. It's Clemson homecoming, and the third-ranked Tigers get ready for Wake Forest in an ACC battle here at Memorial Stadium. Clemson looking to stay unbeaten. Wake looking to move over 500. And a good afternoon. Anish Shroff alongside former first-round pick Kelly Stauffer. Brooke Weisbrod will be with us shortly. Expectations starting to rise for Clemson, the #3 team in the country. And you sensed it after their last win. They beat North Carolina State on the road on a Thursday night. And sort of after that win, the feeling around Clemson was that it was a loss because they didn't win with enough style points.
Yeah, and the course for these expectations really started 5 years ago. New head coach Dabo Swinney was sitting in the living room of his prize recruit, Taj Boyd. They wanted to get to this point where they had this kind of expectation on them, not only in conference, but nationally. Taj Boyd has to set the tone. Remember, living up to these expectations lives right next door to pressing beyond your comfort zone. He has to start that today.
Yeah, we're waiting for this Clemson offense to get into sync. It's not that they've been bad this season, just not as good as they've been the last couple of years. Wake Forest offensively searching for an identity. Until they figure it out, they're going to rely on that defense.
Makita Whitlock might be the best defensive player that you haven't heard about nationally. 5'11", 250-pound nose tackle that's an explosion waiting to happen. A veteran group on that side. Clemson's going to have to be buttoned up on the offensive line of scrimmage today.
Wake Forest won the toss. They deferred, so Clemson will receive the opening kick. First home game for the Tigers in 3 weeks. That was a win against South Carolina State.
Well, Anish, we'll see right away whether Taj Boyd could just kind of settle down. I mean, the words I think that I would choose is he has to play loose by thinking less, and we'll see that right out of the box today.
Boyd, one of the great leaders, one of the most charismatic players in all of college football, and he'll get his chance first for this Clemson offense. Jermon Hopper and Roderick McDowell back deep for the Tigers. And here is McDowell wearing number 19 today in honor of Sharon Peak, an injured teammate. Let's bring in the third member of our team, Brooke Weisbrod.
Thank you. Well, Martavis Bryant will be suspended, sitting out the first half, rather, for a throat slash gesture he made last week in the game against NC State. Offensive lineman Isaiah Battle is suspended for a punch he also threw in that game. So not only was this avoidable, but it's something that Taj Boyd needs in order to get his offense going. They're waiting for that breakout performance. For that to happen, Taj Boyd must trust his technique and read the defense rather than trying to make that perfect pass.
On first down, Boyd finds Adam Humphries, and he's to the 30-yard line, a gain of 12. So a good sign early as Taj Boyd completes to Humphries.
And Adam Humphries is kind of that complimentary receiver right now, the most consistent. Remember, they need some more weapons. They have Sammy Watkins. They need 2 or 3 others to go along with him.
On first down, this is Boyd. He'll keep it. He's across the 35 to the 36-yard line. Give him 6 on the play. Wake Forest leading tackler Mike Olson on the stop.
We already see Clemson going up tempo. They like to do this when they have some momentum, but Clemson has to do the little things well today. All 11 guys have to just simply carry out their assignment.
Boyd's going to go deep. He's got Watkins. There's a flag on the play. Watkins behind the secondary and into the end zone, but he may have pushed off on Bud Noel.
Now this is going to be very interesting because Watkins was running a double move down on the sideline. Noel had him man-to-man. Noel actually pushed him out of bounds, but if you're pushed out of bounds, you can come back inbounds and catch the football. I don't know who the penalty is on.
Bears on the defense. No penalty declined. Touchdown.
Wow. My advice to Noel on this double move right there, the shake and then the seam outside. And if you're going to push Watkins, push him over into the Gatorade so he doesn't get down the field and end up in the end zone like that.
The basketball, I should say, the football equivalent of an and one in basketball. The touchdown after the penalty. The point after by Chandler Catanzaro is good. Clemson strikes this offense. Will they get into a groove? Well, 3 plays in, they've got 7 points.
Yeah, and the thing that Noel has to understand is Watkins is a very physical receiver. The #1 go-to guy, obviously, for Taj Boyd. If you're going to put your body on him, you better be serious about it. And it's just one-on-one down here at the bottom. And watch the little stutter move as Watkins comes off the line right there. And then you have to collision Watkins and push him out of bounds where he can't come back into play. It wasn't bad up to the point where it didn't seem like Noel was committed to the contact. You have to commit yourself, or #2 is going to go by you. Smiles already for Taj Boyd.
And with that last touchdown pass, Boyd into sole possession of 2nd place in career touchdown passes. That's ACC history. He moves past Chris Wenke, former Heisman Trophy winner, and if Boyd stays healthy, there's a good chance he'll pass Phillip Rivers before the season is over.
Yeah, I think a great chance. You're absolutely right. And Clemson getting out of the box early is what we wanted to see.
Line drive kick fielded by Orville Reynolds. And a couple of bounces, and Reynolds tackled shy of the 15-yard line. Good special teams coverage by Clemson. Only an 8-yard return. Well, this Wake Forest offense, Kelly, they're turning to Tanner Price. He's a veteran. He's been starting games since his freshman year. This is his 39th career start. It's an offense searching for an identity. They tried to run a little option early in the season, and they're kind of back to square one and trying to figure out who they are when they have the football.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it, Anish. Who are you offensively, Wake Forest? The 4-year starter, Tanner Price, can stand up to the pressure.
Josh Harris on first down, erased by Grady Jarrett right at the line of scrimmage, 2nd down and 10.
Well, Anish, you talked about it. Wake Forest spent the offseason installing the quarterback zone read that would get them to the perimeter. After 4 games, they realized that they don't really have the personnel to get it done consistently well, but they're still trying to come up with some kind of run game. Look for the gun run, zone downhill in a heartbeat, and try to get this offensive line going.
They saw Jim Grobe coming off a losing season. Harris again doesn't get much. It'll bring up 3rd and long.
You know, Anisha, we use a NASCAR. We're in NASCAR country. Use a NASCAR analogy. Underneath the hood is your offensive line. It doesn't matter what your driver does. It doesn't matter what your tires look like. If you don't have it under the hood, you're not going to get it done. Right now, that's Wake Forest offensive line.
Right now, that Wake offensive line, it's being held together with duct tape. Guys coming off injuries, a true freshman at center against an improved Clemson defense. Pressure on 3rd down. Price has to get rid of it. Incomplete, intended for Michael Campanaro. And 3 and out goes Wake Forest on its first series.
And Beasley's that pressure guy that they have to get help with. They're not going to be able to block him with the left tackle alone. And he's quick with his hands, quick feet, and he gets around the corner and chases the quarterback, Price, out of the pocket early.
First punt of the game for Alex Kinnel, who had a dubious record a year ago. He set the ACC record for punts in a season with 95. And the native of Australia gets it off. Fair catch signal by Adam Humphreys. And he'll catch it inside his own 40-yard line. Good punt by Kinnel, 50 yards. It only took Clemson 3 plays to score on its first drive.
I need to get off early, find #2 early, and that's exactly what Taj Boyd did.
You're watching the All-State Game of the Week, all a part of the ACC on ESPN, alongside Kelly Stauffer and Anish Shroff. If you're joining us a little late, you missed some early fireworks. Taj Boyd hitting Sammy Watkins for a 64-yard touchdown catch. And it's 7-0 Clemson. Boyd, the reigning ACC Player of the Year. Last year against Wake, number 10 set a school record with 428 passing yards, a single game record.
And Taj Boyd, obviously, is the driver of this ship. He just has to settle down and play well early.
On the ground and across the 40-yard line is Roderick McDowell. He's the team's leading rusher, 243 yards coming in.
You know, and how many times leading up to this game did we hear Clemson talking about getting into a rhythm offensively, getting into sync, getting into the flow of the season?
Tigers going quickly. Boyd pump fake, steps up under pressure, and he sacked Christopher Redding. The fifth-year senior heads Clemson for a loss of 4.
You know, and Redding's a defensive end opposite right here. He's going to get the quick pressure, but another double move down the field, and Taj Boyd just simply has to get rid of that football. That's one of those decisions he needs to make better.
Boyd tucks it and runs. And he appears to have the first down, so Taj Boyd using his feet. And it is good enough to move the chains.
And Anish, that's one of the underrated parts of Taj Boyd's game. He's probably the best runner of the football when he has to. They haven't had a lot of designed runs early in the season, but escaping when he passes, that was great there.
Boyd to Humphreys, his second catch of the game. And that's good for about 14 more. Another first down for Clemson.
And Chad Morris wants to go up tempo. When they have momentum, they have Taj Boyd pulling the trigger. They want to go as fast as they can.
Out of the pistol, Humphreys, and he's been a favorite target of Boyd. When we spoke to Taj Boyd yesterday, he said that he told Adam Humphreys, who didn't have a catch in Clemson's last game, hey man, I still like you, dude.
I like you,
I still like you. I'm gonna go to you.
He's finding him early. He might find him again right now. Nobody over top of Humphreys right there.
This is Roderick McDowell, and a strong run for McDowell as he moves the chains. This Clemson offense, we talked to Chad Morris, the offensive coordinator, Taj Boyd, Dabo Swinney, and all of them said it's so close to putting all the pieces together.
Hunter Williams with the tackle.
Boyd's got time. He's got Watkins. Incomplete.
Pass intended for Sammy Watkins.
Once again, the double move outside, and they had a rolled-up corner, Kevin Johnson, in the flat. And if that ball was driven just a little bit more, a little bit too much air under it, gave the safety, A.J. Marshall, number 17, time to come off the hash and collision that play.
Jermon Hopper in motion for Clemson on second down. Boyd, quarterback draw. And Boyd down across the 15-yard line, a gain of 8. It'll bring up 3rd and short.
And with Clemson going really quick right here, it's when they need a play up the middle, a lot of times it's Taj Boyd and design runs like that. His favorite play running the football is that quarterback draw like we just saw in that play.
On 3rd and short, here's Zach Brooks. He's the short yardage back, and the second effort gets him a first down. Brandon Chubb on the stop.
Remember, coming into the season, they lost Ellington, their go-to running back, and so the running game was really in question. And Roderick McDowell was thinking about transferring out, but he stayed, and now he's an important part of this offense.
Jumbo set. There's Brooks, and he powers his way in for 6.
Kind of the sugar huddle, and then they break and get to the line of scrimmage, the quick snap, and then Brooks, number 24, is more of their physical downhill guy. And Wake doesn't have an answer defensively currently.
First rushing touchdown of the season for Zach Brooks, second touchdown overall. And this Clemson offense, the theme all week, the Tigers need to get in sync. They need to put it all together. It's been a promising start for Dabo Swinney and his team.
ESPNU College Football All-State Game of the Week. Brought to you by Allstate Insurance, proud supporters of college football. Are you in good hands? And Dr. Pepper, always one of a kind.
Homecoming weekend here at Clemson. There's Clemson University President Jim Barker and his wife Marcia. That Tiger might be doing some push-ups today. Clemson has come out throwing some haymakers here against Wake Forest. 2 touchdowns with about 10 minutes to play in the first quarter as Wake will start from its own 25-yard line.
We talked about Clemson needing to get into rhythm early. The way that you do that is you first of all find your playmaker, the stutter, and then they go up the sideline. And Sammy Watkins is a physical guy. He gets collision by Noel right there, but it doesn't really knock him off his course. Catches the football, and then a couple of quick passes to Humphreys on the next drive, and then it's, hey, let's get physical up front, get our offensive line lathered up, and then Brooks takes it into the end zone. The different paces, and they're going fast, and they're physical up front. Good sign for Clemson.
Pressure from the outside. Tanner Price gets rid of it. He's got Josh Harris. Harris has got a lot of room. He's into Clemson territory and out of bounds near the 45-yard line.
Josh Harris off the play-action pass comes out of the backfield right there. You can see the blitzer was actually the cover guy that voided that zone, and a very good job of putting the ball on the running back where he has room to move with it. Good play right there by Wake Forest, and boy, Anish, did they need that.
CAMPANARO in motion. Price fakes it to him. He'll take a shot downfield, and he overshot his intended target. Jared Crump was who Price was looking for.
And that's actually probably the best part of Price's game is the deep ball. He's been erratic, short to medium type passes. They're going to have to get some quick passing game because they haven't ran the ball on anyone.
And Kelly, you know this as a former quarterback. Yes, Wake Forest issues up front. They've struggled to run the ball. At the end of the day, the blame, the credit, it falls on the quarterback.
No doubt about it. And you know that by playing that position. It's no surprise to Tanner Price.
First catch, whoa, I spoke too soon. Michael CAMPANARO could not hold on. Usually he's about as sure-handed as they come, and it's 3rd and 10.
And see, that's where they've gone. They've abandoned the perimeter run in that zone read scheme, and they're saying we're going zone inside or we're going screen outside, but those screens have to be long handoffs. They have to be 100% to the edge. Watch out for Vic Beasley on plays like this. He's right down here, and he's as quick as a hiccup off the edge.
He had 3 sacks last week against NC State.
Wake Forest, first time out of the half.
And Wake Forest wants to talk it over on 3rd and 10. Big early down coming up for Jim Grove and the Demon Deacons.
Dory Noka in studio. Oklahoma has jumped on Notre Dame in South Bend in a big way. After a pick 6, then they get it back on another Tommy Rees interception. Damian Williams touchdown. 14-zip Sooners less than 3 minutes in. Georgia, beautiful first drive. Aaron Murray 5 for 5 on the drive. Touchdown pass. 7-zip Bulldogs over LSU. LSU just scored, guys.
All right, thank you, Dari. Clemson's got that win over Georgia. Tiger fans paying close attention. 3rd down and 10 here for Wake Forest. First quarter, 9:21 to go. Price under pressure. And that time Harris has nowhere to go. Tackled by Bashaud Breeland for a loss of 5. And Clemson's defense forces Wake to kick. Let's go to Brooke Weisbrod down on the field.
You guys, until the second half against Army, Jim Grove had not seen a sense of urgency out of his offense. He said, we've got to somehow drill into our players that every possession is special. And when plays break down, to keep that sense that the next play, we have to be perfect. So 2 3 and outs, and the offense, I'm standing right behind the benches over here. They're looking pretty dejected.
Yeah, Brooke, that's a great report because you can't have a drive until you have a good play. And you're exactly right. Every play is precious in football.
And Wake not able to down that, so it goes out of the end zone, and Clemson will start from its own 20-yard line. As Brooke told us earlier, Martavis Bryant suspended for the first half of this game for Clemson. He had a big game against NC State last Thursday. Sharon Peak, who was the team's #2 receiver, out for the season. And Adam Humphreys, one of the guys Clemson is looking to step up and be maybe that number 2 guy. He's off to a strong start. Number 13, 3 catches already.
You know why Taj Boyd loves that dude? Is because he's consistent and he catches everything thrown at him. Dependable.
That guy's pretty dependable too. Sammy Watkins picking up 9, second and short.
So this is the dilemma that Wake is in. It's coming at them so fast, and if you play coverage, then they pick you apart underneath with the veteran quarterback. If you play man-to-man, Watkins ends up in the end zone.
On the ground, McDowell spins away from one defender using the stiff arm, but he's dropped back at the 25-yard line, lost a couple of yards. It'll be 3rd down.
Chubb doing a nice job from his middle linebacker position, just slicing through the offensive line of scrimmage, and that's what Wake has to do. They don't have a lot of pressure numbers, but they're irritating up front. They get across the line of scrimmage just like Chubb did on that play.
Watkins flashes in motion. Out of the backfield, this is DJ Howard, and Howard's got a 1st down and more. Open field for DJ Howard. 75 yards for the score.
DJ Howard is just going to run actually the route out of the backfield right there. Look at Taj Boyd's patience. Look downfield, softness in coverage, throw it to what actually is his 3rd receiver, and then let them run after the catch. That is a tremendous job, not only by quarterback, but obviously by Howard on that play as well.
Kelly, in Clemson's last game, that Thursday night win against NC State, that was sort of a drag them out, 12-15 rounder. You got to go to the scorecard. The Tigers coming into this game, you got the sense they wanted to throw some punches early and get a 1st-round TKO. They're on their way.
Well, Anisha, I think this is what rhythm looks like. I think this is what being in sync looks like. A veteran quarterback getting it to his playmakers early.
Wake Forest getting set for its 3rd possession of the afternoon. Clemson just kicked off. It's a touchback, so Wake ball from the 25-yard line. And Tanner Price will try to get this Demon Deacon offense going. It's been stagnant on 2 drives, save for that long screen pass to Josh Harris.
Yeah, and if you're challenged up front, it's going to be difficult to make hay in any aspect of the game, but you have to be efficient in whatever you do.
Joshua Wilhite trying the middle, and he doesn't get much, maybe a yard. A lot of orange clogging up the gaps.
Deshaun Williams, number 99, you see right there is the 300-pounder on the nose, and that's the challenge for Wake. They don't match up worth the lick on the offensive line of scrimmage against what is probably the most improved part of what Clemson is doing right now under the new defensive coordinator, Brent Venables, playing really well up front.
Price trying to escape. Dumps it off to Jordan Garside. And Garside picks up 6. It'll bring up 3rd down.
And Tanner Price was a dual threat guy out of Texas, out of high school, so he can move a bit. He's not going to make a living out on the edge, but enough movement to get the throw off, and he finds Garside out wide, but it puts him in a 3rd and much more manageable situation. You don't want to be 3rd and long against Beasley coming off the edge.
Clemson brings 5. Price, he'll try to run, but he's stopped. 4th down.
And what Wake Forest wanted to do is just spread things out. You can go ahead and let it roll, guys, and then it's try to get the quarterback on the draw. But you can see 99. You have to move the nose guard somewhere. And that's all that Deshaun Williams was doing on that play, is just waiting for the quarterback to come through the door, and he did his job on that play.
Wake -1 rush yards so far in this game. They've run 10 plays for a total of 32 yards.
And Anish, that's multiplied by about 100 when Taj Boyd is distributing the football to playmakers that can take it the distance like he already is in this game.
Delay of game. 4th down.
So Wake will back it up 5 yards after the delay of game penalty.
Now, one of the things you hear about Jim Grobe's teams is they're extremely well coached, but they're also talent challenged when it comes to a team like they're playing today with Clemson has athletes and speed all over the field.
Good kick by KINAL. It chases Humphreys back to the 25. And Humphreys stripped up at the 26-yard line. 47-yard punt, 3-yard return. Taj Boyd with 5:29 to go here in this first quarter. Already 200+ yards of total offense. In fact, 201 yards, and he is now Clemson's new career leader in total offense, passing Charlie Whitehurst. His resume speaks in the imperative.
You know, and his resume is probably second to meeting him in person. He is extremely charismatic, and if I had a draft choice pretty high next year, I would want that guy to be the face of my franchise at the next level.
We spent some time with him yesterday. Lights up the room, extremely magnetic. Here he's in trouble, and he's sacked by Nikita Whitlock. First time we've called his game the undersized nose guard.
Yeah, tremendous players, Whitlock. 5'11", 250, but he is explosive and quick off the nose tackle. They play a 3-man structure defensively, does Wake, and so you have to occupy the nose right there and demand a double team every play.
Boyd flushed out of the pocket, throws, and it's incomplete. Kevin Johnson went up to try to get that one for Wake. 3rd down.
Anish, do you get a feel, though, what's happening on the offensive line of scrimmage for Clemson? There's too much leakage. Brooke talked about at the top. Up front, they brought 4 starters back. They lost a heck of a center in Dalton Freeman. That's the only one they had to replace, but there's way too much leakage going on up front that offensive line of scrimmage.
Boyd on the run on 3rd and long. Changes direction. And finally brought down. It'll be 4th down. Boyd picked up 6.
Nikita Whitlock is one of the best players that you may not have ever heard about. Watch the quickness on this play. If you don't double team him, you're asking for trouble. You can see right there. The center, Ryan Norton, number 58 at 6'3", almost 300 pounds, had no shot to get hands on him there.
Short punt. It goes out of bounds near the 45-yard line. Let's see where they mark it. They'll mark it at the 46. Wake Forest ball after just a 28-yard punt. SEC football on ESPNU later tonight. Florida taking on Kentucky in Lexington. Florida quarterback Jeff Driscoll out for the season, so it'll be the junior Tyler Murphy getting the start. And more importantly, Florida without its best defensive player for the season, Dominique Easley, tore his ACL in practice earlier this week.
Easley's injury hurts them far more than Driscoll's does. I think Murray being able to run the football, he's an average passer, however.
And there's the first catch for Michael Campanaro, and with that reception, he's now tied with Ricky Prohl for 2nd all-time in catches in Wake Forest history.
And that's who Tanner Price has to find. Campanaro is typically an inside guy that can run away from the nickel coverage or a linebacker, but he's smart enough to find the zones, and you can see right there that matchup that Beasley coming off the edge doesn't give Tanner Price a lot of time to throw the football.
Price out of the backfield. That's DeAndre Martin. He's a battering ram, and he lowers the shoulders, and he's going to be close to a 1st down.
So if you're an offense that doesn't have a running game, what do? That's what you do 100% of the time. You have to complete swing passes to running backs, quick slants to wide receivers. That's what you have to do if you can't run the football physically between the tackles.
It's marked as a 1st down for the Demon Deacons. Martin again. And he's to about the 30-yard line, a gain of 2, 2nd down and 8.
See, and that was a quarterback zone read, Anish, and Tanner Price didn't look like he was interested in keeping the ball, because typically you read the defensive end. Defensive end gets after my running back. I pull it and replace it around the end, and Tanner Price is going to have to do a little bit of that today.
Price coming off a game where he had a career-high 66 rush yards. That was against Army last weekend. That's a catch by Campanaro along the far sideline, and he's out of bounds near the 15-yard line, a gain of 13.
And Wake is trying to get going, a little bit of tempo here as well. The pressure inside, and watch the catching off the carpet. And
I don't know.
Every play is reviewed, but Wake is trying to get this snap off before they can send it upstairs to for a stoppage of play where they can take a further look at it.
I was surprised that wasn't ruled incomplete initially, but yeah, it's coming back.
Yeah, Campanaro tried to sell it. Actually, he sold it really well, but
Good
I think you're right.
Yeah.
That's coming back.
Ruling on the field was a catch. Previous play is under further review.
And just a little low with the pressure in Price's face right there at the end. The ball, the nose of the ball hits the ground before Campanaro, I think, has possession.
Oh, yeah, that's indisputable.
That's a great play if you're a shortstop. It's an incompletion if you're a wide receiver trying to catch it off the carpet.
I tell you what, though, we talk about Clemson's offense trying to find a rhythm. Wake Forest offense hasn't had a rhythm all season.
Oh, brother.
Campanaro is the guy. He's the best playmaker. They've got to find him ways to get the ball.
Yeah, and so what they need to be doing, Anish, is kind of what they've tried on this drive. We can't run it. So to get it to the perimeter, we have to get it to the perimeter via swing passes to our running back, because Clemson is trying to get pressure on Price. And then Campanaro, how many ways can I get him the ball? I don't care what it takes. He needs to have touches at least well into the double digits today.
He had a 16-catch game against Louisiana Monroe. That was a Wake Forest loss a couple of weeks ago. He also had a 16-catch game last year against BC. He dropped one earlier, but he's as sure-handed as they come in the ACC.
Tremendous. If he had some complimentary help, specifically an outside wide receiver to go along with him, we would hear a lot more about that young man.
Review. Ruling on the field is reversed. Have an incomplete pass. The ball will be played to the 30-yard line. 3rd and 8. 2 minutes, 59 seconds. 2 minutes, 59 seconds. Clock will start on the snap.
Anish, you're like 100% on those things this year, right? Calling those exactly right. You had it exactly right.
With my voodoo mathematics, yes, 100%.
Yeah,
So
look at
instead
that.
of a first down, you got a 3rd and 8 now.
And that's not their wheelhouse, because remember, Clemson has some pressure guys, specifically number 3 right there. So this ball's going to have to be more of a catch and carry type of variety.
Beasley coming hard around that right end. Price gets rid of it, and he's got a first down. Who else? Number 3, Campanaro.
And Clemson needs to do a better job of squeezing down. You can see number 3 is going to come off the edge, gets the pressure, but good timing, good route. That ball is out. That's how you beat good pressure, Anish, with impeccable timing. And if I'm Clemson, I find number 3, and I squeeze the life out of him in my coverage, and Clemson's not doing a very good job of it currently.
Flag on the play.
Illegal substitutions on the defense. 12 men in the formation. 5 yards. First down.
If the offense doesn't substitute, they can go as fast as they want, but neither side of the ball can have 12 guys in the huddle and then break formation and send one guy off the sidelines. That's what Clemson did defensively, and head coach Dabo Swinney didn't like it a bit. Campanaro's down here right now. If I'm Trevor Price, I find him.
Instead, it's a run play. And DeAndre Martin maybe got a yard. It'll bring up 2nd down. There's Dabo Swinney. His program has been building toward a year like this. A couple of years ago, they started 8-0, lost to Georgia Tech, really limped to the finish line. Last year, Clemson had a pretty good season. The only 2 losses, Florida State and South Carolina, undefeated through the first month so far.
And he embraces their position. He thinks they're one of 10 to 12 teams that have a chance to win it all. Why not say it?
No argument here. Price on the run. He'll try to scramble for the first down, and he beats Corey Crawford to the sideline. A gain of 2. Let's see where they spot it. It'll bring up third and about 1.5 yards.
You saw the speed of Corey Crawford on that play. 6'5", about 275 from his defensive end position. And Tanner Price isn't exactly fast, but he can get outside when he needs to at 6'2", 205. A good job of putting them into a really nice third down position.
Wake Forest has struggled inside the 20 this season. Only 4 touchdowns when in the red zone. On third down, that's caught. And a touchdown for Wake Forest. Sherman Ragland III.
Great job there. See the corner coming off that short corner, and so it's a hot route to the receiver, and the throw and catch is exactly what Wake Forest needs to be doing. Beat the pressure with a good route and a very timely throw.
Extra point is good by Chad Headland, and Wake Forest on the board. They call him simply the third, Sherman Ragland. And he gets Wake Forest on the board. He had some issues with drops a season ago, and Wake looking for playmakers to emerge on offense.
Quarterbacks always have to be alert for the short corner blitz. You're going to get it right there, and so it's just a stop route to beat the pressure. Quarterback and receiver are on the same page. The result is a touchdown. Ragland makes a really nice catch, pulls it into his body, and then stretches into the end zone. But those are the little things that Wake cannot afford to do, except for about 100% right all the time.
Ragland, 23 catches a season ago. That was his first of 2013. Redshirt sophomore out of Durham, North Carolina.
And Wake is just really looking for guys to step up to go along with a tremendous receiver in Campanaro. And maybe Ragland is one of those guys that's starting to flash a little bit.
And after getting hit with a series of haymakers from Clemson, Wake able to muster a counterpunch. 21-7 now. That's huge.
And it came off a poor series by Clemson's offense once again, and then the poor punt. Wake takes advantage of it, but that's what people want to see here, is those poor performances to go away.
Hopper from his own end zone, and he's going to stay right there. Clemson ball at its own 25-yard line. Let's check in with Dari for an update on Florida State and BC.
Guys, how about this? It is our Dr. Pepper 10 conference update. Chase Redding to Jenks Sinkovec. BC 14, 8th ranked Florida State 3, late first quarter, guys.
Wow. Dari, you never know in this game. 18 to 22-year-olds, you don't know which group's going to show up from one week to the other.
Florida State, one of 4 remaining unbeatens in the ACC, and of course October 19th, Clemson takes on Florida State. Boyd couldn't hold on to the snap, and he's able to recover, but he lost 4 yards, second and long.
And remember who is over center Ryan Norton's head? Nikita Whitlock, who's quick as a hiccup. And sometimes you forget that you have to snap the football first, and that's a difficult thing to do out of a shotgun formation with a quarterback, is go down and get one low off the carpet. And actually, it's Guillermo, number 57, is in there at center currently.
Nice move by Sammy Watkins as he dances out of bounds, a gain of 9. It'll bring up third down for Clemson, 40 seconds to go in the first quarter.
Clemson does such a nice job of going side to side, somewhat like a tennis match, to keep the pressure on an offense. Screen one way, go back and screen the other way just as fast.
Hopper in motion. Man, that's incomplete. So fourth down coming up for the Tigers.
Once again, I mean, this is exactly what Chad Morris wants to see less of. That was a poor series that followed a poor series. And if you're going to make a case to be one of those teams in the end, that type of football offensively has to go away.
Sam Cooper could not come up with that last ball. Good punt this time. Michael Campanaro back deep, and fair catch signal. He makes it at the 26-yard line. A 44-yard punt from Bradley Pinion.
Well,
18 seconds to go in the quarter, Kelly.
Excuse me for that. You know that if you're going to be what you say you can be offensively, you have to do all the little things right. And it's just one guy here and there. Right here, it's penetration from the right side that blows up a running play. You can see the safety was sneaking down, but everyone had a hat on a hat except the tight end. And here they take advantage of the safety sneaking up and throwing over his head, but they're inconsistent thus far.
Michael Campanaro, that's his third catch of the game, and it's a first down for Wake, a gain of 11.
We've talked about Clemson wanting to find consistency, get in sync, rhythm, flow, all those things. The way you do it if you're Wake Forest is get it to number 3, Campanaro.
That seems to be the game plan. Campanaro, 3 catches, 35 yards after a quarter of play, but it's Clemson on top. They raced out to a 21-0 lead, a couple of big plays. Sammy Watkins, a 64-yard touchdown. DJ Howard had a 75-yard touchdown. Wake answered with Sherman Ragland III, and it's 21-7.
Welcome back, everybody. Let's take a look at 3 keys to this game. We've already seen this wide receiver matchup play out already. Both guys are big play guys, and they're target guys for their quarterbacks. And then Taj Boyd playing at a high level, but to attain the level they want to get to, he has to play well early. And then this matchup, Wake Forest is outmanned on the defensive line or offensive line of scrimmage, but Wake Forest plays well on the defensive line. Clemson has to shore things up there.
There's the true freshman, John Armstrong, getting his number called for the first time today, and he picks up 14. And it's not often that you say a true freshman getting a chance to play for Wake Forest, but Jim Grove, maybe a philosophical shift this year. He's already played 11 true freshmen. Normally, those guys redshirt. He's only played 22 true freshmen in his tenure here at Wake coming into this season. Out of the backfield, here's Harris. He's been a threat in the receiving game, and he's pushed out of bounds as he gets across the 45-yard line. Tackle made by Martin Jenkins.
And once again, you see Trevor Price doing a nice job of throwing an accurate pass to a running back out in the flat, and that's the way to get the ball to the perimeter. Make this Clemson defensive front 7 have to run sideline to sideline, and maybe you can make a little bit of hay then between the tackles running the football.
Here's Campanaro, stiff arm, and he tiptoes the sideline after picking up another Wake Forest first down, a gain of 10.
Well, and as you talked about it, there hasn't been much of an identity for Wake Forest offensively this year, but I think we're seeing it right now. You start with the one thing I want to make sure we do is what? Well, that what is get the ball to number 3, Campanaro, and then we go from there. Abandon the run game if you have to and supplement with getting the ball wide to wide receivers.
Price, and that pass skips the intended target. Vic Beasley applying the pressure. Beasley 5 sacks on the season, 3 in Clemson's last game.
And what Trevor Price has to understand is don't ever get tired of routine success as a quarterback, which translates to throw the ball to your outlet receivers just as long as it gets out on time so that Clemson pressure doesn't get to you.
There is that Clemson pressure, and Tanner Price gets maybe a yard. Stephon Anthony coming off a 16-tackle game with the stop.
And this was really a quarterback power type of play where the tight end is going to pull and lead the quarterback, but the tight end basically throws a shoe duster and doesn't block anyone. If the tight end gets a block right there along with the guard, Tanner Price has some running room up inside.
Wake Forest 2 for 5 on third down so far. That's Campanaro. Price under pressure. Ball comes out. Vic Beasley knocked it loose.
And Tanner Price was looking for Campanaro running a corner route, but it was man-to-man underneath and a safety over the top. That's not the place to go.
Wake able to recover.
Vic Beasley's going to hit his mark if you take this long. Up over the top, the ball comes out, but is the hand going forward before the ball comes out? They're showing incomplete pass, I believe, on that play. Actually, we couldn't tell whether it was fumble recovery or incomplete pass, but it looked to me like he still had possession when the hand was coming forward.
And the injured Clemson player is Martin Jenkins, junior from Roswell, Georgia. He's in that secondary rotation primarily as a nickelback.
We talked about Tanner Price needing to get the ball to Campanaro, and it just wasn't the play right there to go to. You can see Beasley goes around the short corner and then tomahawks the ball out.
It almost seemed when Beasley got him, that sort of brought Price's momentum forward and the ball came out.
And he tried to grasp that ball. I think that's an incomplete pass. I think rightly called.
That takes a Wake Forest bounce, marked out of bounds at the 14-yard line. It'll be Clemson football when we come back.
It's 17-3.
Could be one of those wacky weekends in the ACC. We already saw Virginia Tech go on the road and beat Georgia Tech Thursday night. Here, Clemson leading Wake Forest. The Tigers score the first 21 points of the game. Sammy Watkins already with a 64-yard touchdown catch in this one. Last year against Wake Forest, he set a school record for receiving yards in a big Clemson win, 42-13.
First down, Tigers at the 14.
Zach Brooks gets the call on first down. He gets 3. He's already had a rushing touchdown in this game for the Tigers.
Number 57, Jay Guillermo, is actually in at center, and that's one of the places they've had issues. Not only snapping the football, but leakage up front. He already gave up a sack early.
They'll try. Brooks once more, brought down by Nikita Whitlock. A gain of 4 or more, and it's 3rd and short.
And that's one of the reasons that Clemson hasn't gotten hitting their stride early in this season, is because of the uncertainty at center. In particular, Dalton Freeman was a tremendous player that they lost.
Boyd will keep it on the option, and good pursuit that time by Zach Thomas. It's going to bring up 4th down.
This speed option outside, and Taj Boyd tries to turn it up and get that first down. Fake inside, get speed outside. He has an escort, number 67, Davis, trying to get outside, but Taj Boyd just doesn't seem as aggressive running the football on designed runs as he did last season.
So Clemson will punt it again. Campanaro waiting for it for Wake Forest. He'll let it bounce. It takes a Clemson bounce. And it's going to be down at the 20-yard line. A 57-yard punt. Wake Forest ball from its own 20.
ESPNU College Football All-State Game of the Week. Brought to you by Lee. Introducing the new Lee Modern Series for men.
All this part of the homecoming festivities. Tiger-Rama last night. Homecoming weekend here in Clemson, South Carolina, and the Tigers with a 21-7 lead, 10:54 to go in the first half. Wake Forest ball from its own 21-yard line. Price finds Campanaro, breaks the tackle. Campanaro out of bounds across the 30. Second and short coming up, and that is the 5th catch of the game for Michael Campanaro.
And how many times does Campanaro get targeted today? Well, whatever it is, it's probably, you can't get that guy the ball enough, and you move him around so the defense can't roll coverage that direction, and then he plays the slot that's very difficult to double from that position.
Joshua Wilhite picks up 5 and a Wake Forest first down.
Yeah, and a 5-yard run once you start getting the ball out to the edges via your run game or your pass game, not only to wide receivers like Campanaro, but your running backs outside the hashes as well.
Clemson's defense slow to get set there. Price pumps. Now he'll tuck it. And he's chased down by Bashaud Breeland for a loss of 3 yards. Good pursuit by the corner.
And Tanner Price just simply has to get that ball off. Clemson was locked down in man-to-man coverage. There's nowhere to throw the ball. You can see the pump was a double move outside. Once you don't have that in niche, your outlet receiver becomes the water bottles on the sideline. That ball has to be out at that point. Don't take a negative play.
Press coverage on 2nd and long. And Price goes up the middle, doesn't get anything. 3rd and 13 coming up.
And Clemson just really isn't respecting Wake's ability to get to the edges in the run game. So that's why if you're Wake Forest, don't try to run it up inside. Throw to the perimeter via your pass game.
Wake Forest on average has had to go about 9 yards on 3rd downs. 2 for 6. And movement up front.
False start. Number 63 on the offense. 5 yards. 3rd down.
That's Dylan Intamin. We talked about this Wake Forest offensive line. Left tackle Stephen Chase coming off a torn ACL at left guard. They're playing the freshman Tyler Hayworth. Antonio Ford coming off a broken leg. A true freshman at center. A lot of question marks up front. Little screen pass. It's caught by Wilhite. He's got some speed and using the extra burst to get across the 40, about 3 yards shy of the first down.
And that was actually very well executed. The offensive line got out in rhythm with the running back Wilhite on that particular play, but when you're 3rd and forever against that speed on the defensive side for Clemson, that's a tough task to pick up that many yards on a screen pass.
So Alexander Kinnell out of Adelaide, South Australia, on to punt it away again. Adam Humphries fighting the sun. Fields at the 15. Humphries has some room. And he's to the 33-yard line. A 17-yard return off a 44-yard punt. So Clemson's offense will try to get its groove back. They'll have the football when we come back.
Dory Noka in studio. Time now for our AT&T All-America Player of the Week update. And how about East Carolina quarterback Shane Carden? 376 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 3 rushing touchdowns in a rout at Chapel Hill. Text vote to 34763 from your mobile phone to vote, and for a chance at a trip to the national championship.
Renee Schroff, Kelly Stauffer, Brooke Weisbrod here in Death Valley. Clemson leading Wake 21-7. Taj Boyd to the air for Sammy Watkins. He gets tangled up with Kevin Johnson, and there's a penalty marker.
Clemson tries to go downtown in the change of possession. It's just the post with the middle open right there. Very good coverage. Johnson just has to finish better. I mean, he couldn't have had better coverage up until the point of contact. Don't have to put your hands on him. Go up and high point it when you have a chance, but just everything was great up until the very end.
It's pass interference. It's not a spot foul in college, so a 15-yard penalty as Clemson moves up. Adam Humphries off the fly sweep, and Humphries down inside the 25-yard line. A nice run that time, and a gain of 31 yards. Humphries from the same high school as Sharon Peak, who was Clemson's #2 wide receiver and is out for the season.
And Wake just does a poor job of keeping leverage out on the edge that particular time. It's a quick show of the ball. It went right from the quarterback to Humphries and then around the edge. You got to keep sight of where the football is.
Boyd pumps. Now on the run. And Boyd gets out of bounds as he crosses the 15, give him 6.
Remember what the theme is coming into this game, that Clemson has been inconsistent offensively. A ton of talent on that side of the ball. They went 3 drives and 3 scores and then sputtered for 3. This is what Chad Morris wants to see offensively.
That's DJ Howard. He's fighting forward, trying to get close to that first down marker.
You know, and what was the difference in Anish between the first 3 drives and the second 3 drives for Clemson? And some of it was shooting themselves in the foot, and some of it was number 50, Whitlock, right there, having a big game up inside and created some pressure. But it's just the little things right now for Clemson that they're not doing consistently well. But Wake has a bunch of veterans on the defensive side. They typically are in the right place.
Ball's just outside the 10, so it's not first and goal. It's still first and 10. Here's Boyd fighting his way inside the 5, where he's met by Zach Thompson. Second down.
When you get deep red zone with Tosh Boyd as the quarterback, you have to expect quarterback draw. What they will do is they will thin the defense out by having wide receivers, probably 4 wide with an empty back, and then they'll try to run it with Boyd up the middle.
This time it's Brooks, runs into a wall, and then he falls forward. Not much there, so it's 3rd down coming up. Clemson has to get to about the 1-yard line to get a first down.
Mike Olson, the weak side inside linebacker, did a nice job of getting penetration that time. But remember the presence of Nikita Whitlock and that 3-man defensive structure. Because typically they have to double him. It gives the linebackers room to run up inside.
Here's Boyd. He's going to be short of the first down marker. It'll be 4th and about a foot. Boyd wants to go for it.
And a lot of times the quarterback draw doesn't have to be up the middle. You can see the guard shuffling around, trying to lead on the linebacker up inside. Number 62, Shatley, pulled that time, and they're going for it on 4th and extremely short. You have to alert Tosh Boyd on the run game again.
Timeout Clemson on 4th and 1 with 5 minutes to go in the half.
You know, and typically when you get deep red zone on Clemson, first of all, you have to think the best runner of the football is Tosh Boyd for Clemson. But when they have 3 wides to his side, Boyd likes to sprint into the side that Sammy Watkins is at and give him kind of a 2-way go. Inside receiver, outside receiver. The 3rd option is quarterback keeping the ball.
Clemson's been better on this drive in its previous 3 drives. The Tigers managed only 12 points. Compare that to Clemson's first 3 drives of the game, where they had scored each time and racked up 220-plus yards.
And that's the definition of inconsistency, and that offense isn't going to put them in a position to win the conference or a national championship. And Dabo Swinney understands that. 4th and extremely short. Clemson has to recognize the #1 run threat on the field is him, but also look for the sprint out to that side with Sammy Watkins sitting out wide.
4th and goal. Boyd will try to dive for it. Backs in with the second effort.
You know, Taj Boyd is a thick dude. He's like a tailback when he carries it. He goes airborne. The ball was probably over initially, but just in case, he goes ahead and gets his feet on the ground at 225 and powers in. The window dressing was the motion, just to give the defense impression something else was up, but the intention always was to run Boyd between the tackles.
Point after by Chandler. Catanzaro is good, and Taj Boyd, he's accounted for 3 touchdowns in this game. 2 passing and 1 using his legs, capping a 7-play, 67-yard drive. Tonight at 8 Eastern, Saturday Night Football, Wisconsin and Ohio State. The Buckeyes put the nation's longest win streak on the line in Columbus. It's an inexperienced Ohio State front 7 against a Wisconsin rushing attack, which right now has 3 running backs on pace for 1,000-yard seasons.
And Ohio State, yeah, replacing 6 out of the front 7.
Wake will get it at the 25, and we check in with the studio and Dari Noka.
All right, guys, let's update Florida State. BC told you it was 17-3 BC. Jameis Winston to Rashad Green, 56 yards. Now 17-10. BC still leading late first half. We will get you caught up on that as it's still a 7-point game. Also, LSU Georgia underway. Fireworks at the beginning. It slowed down a little. We'll give you an update in Oklahoma State. Gone, out, losing at West Virginia, guys.
Wow. We saw West Virginia against Maryland last week. 37-0. The Terps won. Tanner Price's pass incomplete, intended for Jonathan Williams. He was covered by Bashaud Breeland.
And the defensive adjustment that Brent Venables made on the Clemson defensive side of the ball is they're playing much tighter coverage out wide, and they're doubling Campanaro inside and out or underneath and over the top, whichever they need to do. And that takes away that quick rhythm passing game of Tanner Price.
There's Campanaro in motion. Price is going to try to keep it. He's got nowhere to go. Stephon Anthony, the first to meet him in the backfield, a loss of a yard.
Brent Venables is a high-energy guy, right, Anish? We learned that yesterday.
He's got a couple of veins ready to pop at all times.
I'm pretty sure he can play right now. He just got done working out, and I think he does that quite a bit. But the advancement that Clemson's defense has made under this defensive coordinator has been extraordinary. About mid-season last year, his principles started to show up, and they picked up this season where they left off a year ago.
3-man rush. They still get to Price, who's got to just chuck it away.
Tanner Price, they're trying to change the launch point and trying to get outside, but the speed and athleticism in that defensive front right now for Clemson is upgraded tremendously from the years past, and Brent Venables understands that. Dabo Swinney actually told us by the end of this season, the strongest part of our team might be our defensive line of scrimmage. And we're like, hold on a second. Your quarterback is Taj Boyd. You have a wide receiver named Sammy Watkins. And he said, I'm not kidding you. Our defensive line gets after it.
Yeah, Vic Beasley and Crawford, and they got a freshman, Shaq Lawson, who they love. Flag on the play as Humphreys fields it at the 30. Humphreys breaks free across midfield, but it looks like this may be either roughing or running into the kicker.
Well, running into is not going to get it. It's only 5 yards, and they're 4th and a little over.
Personal foul. Roughing the kicker.
That's
number 20.
That will do it.
The defense, 15 yards, previous spot, automatic, first down.
The roughing will work. The running into wouldn't have. And they're just protecting the punter in an extended, vulnerable position right there. You can't touch him when he's in that position, and that's a great call. And Wake has to take advantage of this opportunity right here. Remember, they were driving before 21-7, and the sack fumble led to them needing to punt. And so they need to make hay right here with this new opportunity.
Less than 4 minutes to go in the half. Wake has it at the 40 now after the penalty. They get a touchdown here. Looks like a different game as you start the second half. Joshua Harris picks up 4. The running game has not been there for the Demon Deacons. Only 20 rush yards so far in the half.
You know, Anish, what happens sometimes as a play caller is you get away from what's working because you expect the defense to adjust. I ride the horse that's number 3 until he falls down. And I think right now they're getting away from CAMPANARO prematurely.
Price under pressure, chased by Crawford. And that was a dangerous pass. It ends up being incomplete. 3rd down.
Yeah, that wasn't a good decision in the end. It was good to throw it away, but make sure it goes into the bleachers. CAMPANARO down. I can get the ball right there to his outside number. I can get it on time and then let number 3 CAMPANARO do something with it. They can't cover him down there. Don't let the defense take you away from your go-to guy prematurely.
Here's the pressure. Screen pass to Martin, and he's canceled back at the 37-yard line. Spencer Shuey led the charge for the Clemson Tigers.
Shuey from his outside linebacker position and doing a great job of just reading his keys. Going to get off the ball, come outside. That's exactly what he's supposed to do. Set the edge right there, get off the offensive lineman, and then blow up the screen. That's disciplined football by Shuey outside at his linebacker position.
So Clemson's going to get the ball back with a little more than 2 minutes to go here in this first half, which is plenty of time for them. And it takes a Clemson bounced down by Wake Forest at the 28-yard line, only a 33-yard punt.
Yeah, let's take a look at Clemson sputtering around. Early, it was the pressure inside. We saw Whitlock there. Deep offensive line not doing a very good job of getting a hat on a hat and sorting out the look. The first 3 drives and then the last drive. Get it to Humphreys out in space on the orbit motion speed sweep and then pay it off with the best running back on the field that is named Taj Boyd in this case. But they want to be more consistent. Those 3 drives in the middle of their scoring drives doesn't cut it with Chad Morris.
Boyd to throw. He's got Watkins for a first down, and Sammy bulldozes his way into Wake Forest territory at the 45. 27 yards for Watkins. He's over 100 yards on the game.
Play action pass inside to invite those underneath rushers up and then get it to your playmaker behind him. Zone run inside, fake, and then get your playmaker running the slant in behind those guys that have to defend the run.
Boyd goes right back to Watkins, and a good tackle that time by Bud Noel, a gain of 3.
And Anish, I think Clemson went away from Sammy Watkins a little bit too early as well. He's Clemson's version of CAMPANARO on the other side. Find ways to get touches out here to the best, one of the best receivers, if not the best, in the entire conference.
Wake brings some extra pressure. It's picked up. Boyd running for his life, and he's got to chuck it out of bounds. I did not see a flag, so I guess they thought Adam Humphreys was in the area code.
Yeah, that bailed Taj Boyd out because he wasn't outside the pocket, nor did it go across the line of scrimmage, so you better hope that someone is in the neighborhood. And the heady receiver, and Humphreys works back down to the ball to give his quarterback an outlet.
Watkins comes out of the game here on 3rd and 6. Pressure. Boyd. And that's complete, hauled in by Jordan Leggett, the freshman tight end, and he picks up 6. This is going to be awfully close. And it's going to be marked just shy of the first down marker, 4th down.
Taj Boyd, quarterback draw. See if they can move Whitlock, the nose tackle, off his spot up inside, but I would be surprised if Taj Boyd doesn't take this somewhere between the tackle.
C.J. Davidson in motion. There it is. Boyd right up the middle. First down, Clemson to the 30.
The motion outside is just window dressing to give the defensive front seven something to think about. But trust me, number 10 is going to carry the ball in those short yardage situations or deep in the red zone.
Clock rolling, under a minute to go, and we've got a timeout.
Wake Forest, second timeout, first half.
It's Wake Forest using a timeout with 54 seconds to go. They've got one. Clemson still has two, and with the tempo that Chad Morris likes to run, 54 seconds, 30-yard line, this is plenty of time.
Yeah, no doubt, and they just continue to convert with Taj Boyd as the best player. This motion is just to loosen the defense this direction, all the while the quarterback is running there. You can see up inside, the guard steps around number 67, Davis, and gets a hat on a hat. That's well executed by Clemson.
Points leader Matt Kenseth is 2 for 2 in the chase for the Sprint Cup. And he's got a lead over Kyle Busch and Jimmy Johnson. Now Kenseth has his sights set on the checkered flag in round 3 with 8 races to go. NASCAR's best continue to drive for the championship. The Sprint Cup Series comes to Dover tomorrow at 1 Eastern on ESPN.
After picking up that first down, typically offenses want to target their go-to guy and get it to Sammy Watkins.
Boyd bobbled it. He's got some time. And that's incomplete, intended for Leggett. Nice job by Kevin Johnson to break it up.
Leggett was running the comeback down the sideline, and actually it turned into more of a back shoulder throw, but really, really well defended by Kevin Johnson, the best cover corner that Wake has in the secondary.
So they've gone to Leggett a couple of times here, 2nd and 10.
Clemson just doing a very good job of trying to keep the ball in front of them.
Leggett again, and he's to the 15-yard line, a first down for the Tigers, and that will momentarily stop the clock.
And we just saw the NASCAR graphic. You're going to see Chad Morris want Taj Boyd to keep the hammer down as fast as they can get it spotted. Let's have a play call and get going.
Leggett and Mike Williams at the bottom of your screen, both freshmen. Boyd looking that way, and that's a touchdown. Mike Williams, his first career touchdown reception.
Taj Boyd, that smile breaks out. It was very well executed. You had kind of a switch in receivers. Williams was outside and ended up running the skinny post inside. Leggett went outside, and Wake just dropped coverage.
Kelly, when we talked to Chad Morris and Taj Boyd yesterday and asked them about Mike Williams, the true freshman, both of them said he reminds them of Nuke Hopkins. Hopkins was Clemson's top receiver a year ago. Everybody on this staff, including Taj Boyd, thinks that his potential is out of this world, and they think he's the next great receiver for the Clemson Tigers.
Yeah, they were pretty excited about him, weren't they? And they talked about his incredible ball skills. His potential is certainly a guy that can be great in this conference. He's 6'3", 205 as a true freshman. He's going to show up next year at about 220. And consider that outside at 6'3", 220 as a guy that's their best ball skill guy. Taj is already posing for pictures on the sideline.
35-7. You talk about how momentum can swing. A roughing the kicker penalty. Wake gets the ball at the 40. If they can capitalize and score, it's 28-14. Instead, their drive stalls. They punt it away. Clemson gets it back, scores, and now it's 35-7.
And you don't get many opportunities when Taj Boyd and Sammy Watkins and company are firing on all cylinders. You have to make hay while the getting's good, and they just haven't done it. Wake consistently offensively.
29 seconds to go in the first half. When we spoke to Dabo Swinney yesterday, he said the schedule really had so much to do in Clemson getting out of its rhythm. The first game against Georgia, he says that was far from a normal week with all the media attention and the hype. Then they played an FCS team in South Carolina State. The starters basically made a cameo. They only played 20 snaps. Then you go into a bye week. Then you play a Thursday game. And he said this Wake Forest week was the first chance to really get into a routine. And he hopes to build on that from this point forward.
Yeah, and you're talking about an offense that's trying to get in sync. Well, that schedule you just explained is a lot of the reason why you're not buttoned up on the little things, because this is a feel offense. You have to get it. It's like a shooter that feels it. This offense didn't feel it up to this point in the season consistently. That's what they're looking to get back.
Clemson bringing some pressure. Price harassed and down he goes. Quandon Christian with the sack. He's kind of that hybrid linebacker safety on that Clemson D.
And that ball has to come out. You can see the edge pressure outside by Christian, beating number 63 Thomas around the edge, and that wasn't extremely quick pressure. That ball just has to be gone.
3 sacks in the first half by this Clemson defense. They came in averaging 4 a game. The defense was outstanding, and the offense, boy, they had some moments. 35-7, Clemson doing it here in the first half. Taj Boyd, 13 of 18, 286 yards, 3 touchdowns through the air. He ran for another score. Here's Brooke with Coach Sweeney.
Coach, 5 touchdowns in the first half. How did you feel about your team's offensive rhythm?
Well, it was good to get in a rhythm, and Taj Boyd came out, got hot early. Sammy Watkins, sparked us on the first touchdown. Great job staying with it, getting forced out. But defense is playing great, giving the ball back to them. But they just back in the valley, got great energy out here today, and the guys are executing. We had a couple of 3-and-outs in a row there where we just had some miscues. But great 2-minute drive to take us into the half here.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay.
Clemson fans may want to stick around for halftime. A potential upset brewing concerning Florida State and Chestnut Hill. There's Dari Noka in the studio.
All right, guys, thank you much. Dominating performance in the first half there for the Tigers. Good for the Tiger fans watching that might have been sweating a little after the performance in Raleigh in their last.
You're watching the All-State Game of the Week. It's the ACC on ESPN. Homecoming here in Clemson, South Carolina, and the home team, the Tigers, with a 35-7 lead after 1 half of play. And Ashraf Kelly Stauffer. With all due respect to Wake Forest, this was a struggling Wake team coming in. Clemson was a team looking to make a statement. Boy, did they make one in that first half. Taj Boyd, 320-plus yards of total offense.
And that's what Clemson obviously wants to see, more consistency on the offensive side, and not enough Jimmy and Joes out of Wake Forest, and we knew that coming in. And the 3 keys to this game, we talked about Sammy Watkins, 5 receptions, 113 yards, a touchdown. Mike Campanaro had a nice half himself. And then Taj Boyd, he has to think less and just play loose, and he did that for the most part in that first half. And Clemson's offensive line shows way too much leakage for my own good. Wake's defensive line, especially that young man Whitlock, is a load up front.
Clemson will kick off to start the second half. And back deep to receive the kick, Orville Reynolds and John Armstrong.
And what you want to see out of Wake in the second half offensively is just kind of further your identity. What is it that you want to do? And then work on doing it effectively and consistently.
This is Reynolds. Reynolds gets the 30. He's got some room, and Orville Reynolds finally taken down right near midfield.
Well, and that's an area that we haven't really seen much, special teams.
Let's go down to Brooke.
Well, Jim Grove obviously upset with his team's inability to score, but he said defensively they're trying all kinds of different coverages, but when it comes down to it, guys, he said Clemson's just a team full of athletes, and you know what? They're just good.
Yes, and amen to that. We've seen that a lot. But Jim Grove's teams typically win the special teams matchup as well. Good start to this second half.
A run on first down, and not much there, and there's a new quarterback in the game for Wake Forest. It's Tyler Cameron. Cameron, an early enrollee, a redshirt freshman from Jupiter, Florida. Coaches said during the spring he made the biggest jump from last year to this year. His father, Jeff, played at Florida, and the coaches really love his future and what he's going to be down the road.
And Tanner Price really doing everything he could in that first half with an offensive line that just isn't up to the challenge up front against Clemson's defensive line. But Patrick Thompson was supposed to be the backup, took a lot of reps in practice this week, but he's not in there.
There's John Armstrong, and he is to midfield, a short gain. It'll bring up 3rd down. Armstrong from Orlando, Florida, a true freshman, went to the same high school as Tennessee Titans running back Chris Johnson. And Armstrong, who's got great speed, actually broke Johnson's single season rushing record at their high school, Olympia.
Pretty high standards right there, but the picture is the same for Cameron. You have to convert on 3rd and long against Clemson's pressure.
Cameron under pressure, and he is sacked. Vic Beasley gets to the quarterback first, and that is his 6th sack of the season, 4th of the game for Clemson.
Just keep your eyes downfield and see if you can see any separation down the field. And then you have to throw the ball away. Glued to receivers, no separation. And the young quarterback just has to learn. It has to go off. And then Beasley is double teamed early and doesn't give up and gets in on the play late.
KINAL gets the punt off. Fair catch signal by Humphreys at about the 10-yard line. A 41-yard punt, no return. Clemson trotting out its offense for its first series of the 3rd quarter. Let's see if Taj Boyd comes in. Taj Boyd has put up big numbers in the first half. He is a 5th-year senior, turned 23 earlier this week. You talk about a consummate leader, a guy who pays attention to detail. And Kelly Stauffer, here's a quarterback who sits in on coaches' meetings. How rare is that?
That is, I've never heard of it before. That was news to me. That would be interesting to do.
Sammy Watkins can't hang on. It'll bring up 2nd and 10. Martavis Bryant, one of Clemson's wide receivers, suspended for the first half. He is now eligible for the second half and in the game, number 1 in orange.
And Bryant, the double throat slash from a week ago and was suspended by his head coach, but he's that big home run hitter that could be a huge part of this offense if he gets his act together.
DJ Howard to the 20-yard line and a Clemson first down.
You talked about Taj Boyd in those staff meetings, and it was really a way for Chad Morris and Dabo Swinney to challenge the quarterback coming back for his 5th season as a senior. And see how the game plan goes together and how the little details lead us to the big plays.
Brooks got more on that. Brooke?
Well, guys, when have you ever heard of a college quarterback sitting in on coaching interviews and staff meetings? No, probably never, right? But as Dabo Swinney said of his 5th-year senior, he needs something to do. His only class right now is online strength and conditioning. So now in his 3rd season, Chad Morris says he and Boyd think a lot alike, and he wants Taj to be more involved in their staff meetings. And Kelly and Anish, you guys, we talked about this last night about how it might help or even hurt the team.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept because I've heard a lot of stuff out of staff meetings where, you know, if things aren't going well, a player or two can be ripped, and all of a sudden you look around and, ooh, we have our starting quarterback sitting over beside me. Maybe we shouldn't say that. And I think maybe it puts too much on Taj Boyd's plate early. It seemed like early in the season he was pressing a little bit.
On 3rd and 7 to the 30-yard line is Zach Brooks. He's going to be just short of the first down, so it's 4th down.
1 yard shy.
How long do you think we see Taj Boyd if the score continues to hold here?
Well, based on the fact that they're not converting here and sending the punt team on, I think that what Chad Morris and Dabo Swinney would like to see is somewhat like an NFL preseason game about week 3. Get that group of first-teamers out there together. Something positive happens, you pull them. But the problem is if they sputter, then how long do you keep him in?
Michael Campanaro retreats to field the punt. Fair catch signal inside the 25-yard line. A good 47-yard punt by Bradley Pinion. Wake Forest will try to get its offense out of neutral when we come back. Tonight, a couple of SEC West rivals square off. A.J. McCarron and top-ranked Alabama get a visit from the young Rebels of Ole Miss. Hugh Freeze has that team playing well. They've got road wins at Vandy and Texas. It's interesting with Alabama. They had a lackluster win against Colorado State. They're kind of afforded some leeway. They've won 3 of the last 4 titles. Clemson, a hum-ho win against NC State. People start doubting, wondering if they're actually contenders. Tyler Cameron finds Michael Campanaro his 7th catch of the game, and Campanaro down to the 40-yard line for Wake Forest.
That's a great point, and I think it's because, you know, when the SEC wins the last 7 national championships, it's an SEC college football world, and the rest of us just kind of live in it. So what do you have to do? Clemson has to be one of those teams. They have a shot at doing something about that, but you're exactly right. It's all about national perception.
Cameron pumps. He's going to run. He's got some speed, and Tyler Cameron lost the football. It comes out at the 45-yard line, and Clemson recovers. Darius Robinson forced the fumble. The safety, Travis Blanks, a freshman All-American last year, recovered it.
And after a couple of really nice plays by Wake Forest, but the young quarterback, the redshirt freshman, this is a different world in terms of ball security at the FBS level. Those defenders not only get to the ball, but they want the ball, and you really have to tuck it high and tight. Travis Blanks ends up with it in that particular play, but a nice play to Campanaro, and then the nice quarterback draw, but then they boot it and put it on the ground.
The play is under further review, so they'll take a look at it upstairs.
And I think what we just saw, Nish, that ball was out. Remember, possession,
Watch
he's already losing possession right there.
Further review, ruling on the field is confirmed. Fumble, first down, Clemson.
That didn't take long.
No. And confirmed, meaning translation, we had it exactly the way we thought when we called it.
Taj Boyd still on the field for Clemson, second series of the 3rd quarter. Don't be surprised if that first unit stays out a little longer for the Tigers, even if the score gets out of hand. As we said in the first half, they're trying to build some rhythm and continuity with those first stringers on offense. Boyd steps up. Whitlock can't get him, and Boyd inside the 40 to the 37-yard line, finally brought down by Justin Jackson. And Taj Boyd about a yard shy of the first down marker.
And what Clemson was wanting to do is take a shot on that orbit motion, fake inside, fake on the orbit receiver going in motion, and then they were trying to hit Bryant down the sideline on the go route. Again, leakage up front.
Boyd to the air, and that is dropped by Sam Cooper. Cooper had a diving touchdown catch in last Thursday's win against NC State.
But Chad Morris wants the hammer down on offense. They want, as soon as the play is over, Taj Boyd is supposed to be locating the signal caller on the sideline and hurrying up to the next play. That's the rhythm that they're still trying to find consistently.
Here's C.J. Davidson, and the walk-on picks up a first down for the Tigers. Davidson, a local product, a sophomore from right here in Clemson, South Carolina. This is just the 2nd game where he's gotten a carry. Boyd's pass complete inside the 20-yard line. That's Stanton Seckinger, the tight end.
And once again, the double move outside. The wide receiver was going inside, and then Seckinger, the tight end, hung along outside on the sideline. Very good throw and catch by Clemson.
Davidson tries to crash the middle. He's got nowhere to go. No gain, 2nd and 10.
And Anish, I believe that's the most inconsistent part of what Clemson is doing, is they don't run it effectively. And what Chad Morris wants to do is they really want to be balanced. Throw screen sideline to sideline, but then zone running scheme up inside with Taj Boyd reading that quarterback zone stuff. They haven't been consistent on the offensive line of scrimmage.
Boyd to Watkins, trying to use the stiff arm, and a nice tackle behind the line of scrimmage by Bud Noel. But with that last completion, Taj Boyd has now completed 166 straight passes, or got 166 straight passes without an interception. That's a school record. Clemson hasn't thrown a pick this season.
Yeah, and a lot of security in that if you're the play caller. You know that number 10, Taj Boyd, is going to take care of the football.
And there was movement on the right side of that Clemson offensive line. Shaq Anthony.
76 offense, 5 yards, 3rd down.
Anthony starting in place of Gift Timothy, who's the normal right tackle. Timothy out with a concussion.
The redshirt sophomore, Shaq Anthony, at that right tackle position is part of that mystery up front, that they're not consistent on the offensive line of scrimmage. Therefore, the NASCAR isn't consistent going up and down the field.
On 3rd and 15, Boyd gets away from Jackson, keeps the play alive. Boyd still on his feet. And Taj Boyd down to the 10-yard line, and he's maybe a yard or two away from a first down. What a run by Taj Boyd.
Yeah, good luck outside linebacker Justin Jackson coming clean, and Boyd kind of set him up. Step inside and then pirouette to go outside. But remember now, you got to have a committed heart to come up and tackle number 10. That's like a big tailback.
Clemson looks like it's going to go for it here on 4th down. They just brought in 3 tight ends.
Yeah, 4th and short is all about number 10 running the football.
You called it. Boyd picks up the first down. He's to the 5-yard line.
And it's just not your run-of-the-mill quarterback draw. They're actually leading him around the edge with the fullback, Darrell Smith. They're not leaving Taj Boyd running uncovered, so it's a lead quarterback draw, not over the center, but outside wide on the edge.
Watkins in motion. Boyd keeps it on the run. Diving for the pylon. Touchdown, Clemson.
We saw Sammy Watkins on the orbit motion as a distraction. All the while, number 10 is trying to get it in the end zone, and right there, the effort. Does the right foot go down? I don't think so. I think the ball crosses the plane, but every play is reviewed. They're going to stop it now and review it further.
Rolling on the field, a touchdown.
And the question is going to be, does any part of Taj Boyd come down out of bounds before the ball breaks the plane? It's hard to see the right foot there, but he was certainly working. At this angle, I think Anish is going to be better. Left foot still in. Does the right foot come down before the ball crosses right there? I don't think there's anything there. They're going to reverse it.
Well, I was going to say, if it's not indisputable, if it's not clear that he didn't get in, the play's going to stand.
Yeah, and that word is indisputable, exactly what you said. And that's why it's so important the way it's called initially on the field. This was called touchdown, so it's going to be difficult to overturn that based on what we've seen.
You think about that Thursday game against NC State when Brian Underwood going down the sideline for what looked like a long touchdown, but because the official blew the whistle and marked him out of bounds, the play was dead and could not be reviewed.
Yeah, that is a tremendous point. That was a huge play in that game, and you don't blow the whistle if you're the official. This wasn't exactly like that, but that's a great point. The officials are taught to let it play, and if you have to come back.
The field is reversed. The player was out of bounds in contact with the defender who was out of bounds at the half-yard line. 2nd and goal at the half-yard line.
Well, 2nd and goal now from the half-yard line. Is it Taj right up the gut again?
I think maybe the exact same play or the traditional quarterback sneak this close. I don't see enough to reverse it, but that's exactly the way replay is supposed to work. Stop it, take a further look, especially if it's a scoring play, and try to get it right. We'll go with the replay booth on that one.
It may just be delaying the inevitable here, though.
Well, I think you're right, whether it takes 2 or 3 tries.
Davidson gets the call, and he's into the end zone. So all the changes, you take the touchdown away from Taj Boyd, and you give it to C.J. Davidson, the walk-on.
I think that was just big boy football right there. Get the guys up front, kind of lather it up, sort it out, get those 300-pounders leading on that much smaller defensive front for Wake Forest, and just get us a little bit. I don't think we're going to see Taj Boyd again today.
We talk about turnovers. Tyler Cameron coughed it up. Clemson recovers. Taj Boyd really got it the first time. C.J. Davidson ends up cashing in. (42-7) Clemson all over Wake Forest with 6:41 to go in the third. Taj Boyd, his day might be done. Pretty good one. 3 touchdowns through the air, ran for another. Almost had 2 rushing touchdowns, but where he was ruled initially in the end zone, that play was reversed. They marked it at the half-yard line, and C.J. Davidson put it in on the next play for his first career touchdown. Orville Reynolds out of bounds as he gets past the 15-yard line, and we check in with the studio.
Anish, let's check in on Florida State. Remember, they started the game at BC down 17-3. Jameis Winston has led them back and some. Second connection of the day with Rashad Green. Winston's got 4 touchdowns, 12 on the year against 1 interception, guys.
All right, Dari, we look forward to continued updates on that Florida State-BC game. Wake Forest using its 3rd quarterback. It's Patrick Thompson in the game. Thompson's first pass complete to Harris, and he goes nowhere. Gary Peters met him right at the point of contact.
And that's a tough play for the receiver right there. When Peters is coming out of his short corner position and running right into that play. I'm glad that receiver got up.
There you see Patrick Thompson, his brother Zach, starting defensive end. Harris up the middle for 4, and it's 3rd down. Patrick Thompson played his high school ball in Ashburn, Virginia at Stonebridge. His dad, Mickey, who played at UVA, was his high school coach. And Mickey coached both the Thompson boys, Zach and Patrick there. Josh Harris gets off the field, 3rd and 7.
A lot of new faces on the field right now for Clemson's defense, but that's nothing new for them. They substitute liberally, and Dabo Swinney comes from the thought that the more guys we can keep engaged, the better the team morale is going to be.
Ball start. 77 on the offense. 5 yards. 3rd down.
That's Will Smith, redshirt freshman right tackle.
I mentioned that liberal substitution that Dabo Swinney, as head coach, likes a lot of guys to play. It's an interesting way to, an interesting approach on a Saturday, but he feels the more guys that are involved on game day, they're rewarded and they stay engaged during the week, and it works really well right here.
Thompson's pass is complete. And that's Tyree Harris gets out of bounds after a gain of 7. It'll bring up 4th down for the Demon Deacons. Now, you talked about Clemson substituting defensively. It's not a game X's and O's philosophy. That is a program philosophy.
Yeah. And I like it. I mean, these student athletes pay a pretty big price in terms of their commitment. And you always have those guys that, the 3rd teamers and below, and even walk-ons that practice their hearts out week in and week out and very seldom see the field. And that can wear on you. Dabo Swinney doesn't believe in it.
Hopper lets it bounce. It looked like it hit a Clemson player. The Tigers able to recover either way, so Clemson will have it inside its own 30-yard line. Well, Taj Boyd had more than 300 yards of total offense in just the first half. Led Clemson on a scoring drive here in the third quarter as well.
And I think Taj Boyd has looked very sharp in every aspect of the game, which you would expect as a fifth-year senior to have 3 big years in a row on his way to the third here. But it's the moving parts around him, particularly up front. Taj Boyd needs his offensive line to play more consistently well, and this would be a well-oiled machine.
New quarterback in the game for Clemson is Cole Stout. DJ Howard, who's got a touchdown in this game, picks up about 8. It'll bring up 2nd and 2.
And I think you're going to see a heavy dose of the run game here, although they're going to go at a fast pace because that's the identity of Chad Morris's offense. But I would think a little more running than we saw earlier in the game.
You look at Stout's numbers on the season against South Carolina State. He was 19 of 20. And there's an appearance by Martavis Bryant, his first catch of the game, suspended for the first half for a throat-slashing gesture he made in the NC State game. You talk to the coaches, they love his potential. A big play threat. Consistency has been his problem.
Yeah, spectacular. He hits one out of the park or he whiffs, and they need him to be much more consistent than that.
On the ground, it's DJ Howard once again, a gain of 3. Howard, 75-yard touchdown reception, 5 carries, 23 yards. Clemson, 130-plus yards rushing in the game.
And a good opportunity to get these guys right here lathered up and sorting out the look in that run game. It was very leaky in the first 2.5 quarters today. Is that a word, leaky? That's right.
Leaky's a word.
Okay, that'll work.
Little screen to Hopper, and Hopper takes the bubble out across the 40-yard line. It's a first down for Clemson. Look at Cole Stout's numbers on the season with the 2 completions, 22 of 23.
Yeah, and his relief performance against South Carolina State, 19 of 20, 95% completion, which was a record. He may do that again here.
All day for Stout, throws over the middle, and that is just his 2nd incompletion of the season. Daniel Rodriguez, the intended receiver. Rodriguez, you talk about Dabo Swinney wanting to get guys in. He's getting a nice ovation. Came to Clemson on the GI Bill, won a Purple Heart for his efforts in Iraq and Afghanistan, especially the Battle of Kamdesh, one of the bloodiest for Americans in Afghanistan.
Unbelievable story. I mean, to have Rodriguez here is really insight to how Dabo Swinney runs his program.
Stout bobbles the snap. Gets right back to the line of scrimmage, maybe lost a yard, 3rd down.
And those are the little things here and there. Even though this is a different quarterback in Stout, the backup, Chad Morris still wants to see a high level of execution. You still have the starting offensive line in there. They want to get it done at a high level right here.
Stout finds Bryant, and Martavis Bryant picks up a first down, a gain of 15 yards.
I think Martavis Bryant is going to get a lot of work in the second half. He's just going to run the dig route, get on the toes of the receiver, lift the ball in. Very well thrown. Great ball placement by Stout, and I think number 1 is going to get a lot of work here in the next few minutes.
C.J. Davidson. He'll bring up 2nd and 7 after a gain of 3. Bryant against NC State. 6 catches, 73 yards, a couple of touchdowns.
Well, he has it in him. 6'5", 200 pounds. He will get thicker as time goes on, but you got to do the little things right.
Stout floats one up in the end zone, and it's hauled in for a touchdown. Jordan Leggett, the freshman tight end.
Jordan Leggett, the freshman, outside, matched up on Brad Watson, another freshman. Just goes to the corner and high point, and I don't think his feet came down in bounds. I think this one should be overturned as well.
The end zone for a touchdown. The previous play is under further review.
I think Leggett's right foot came down out of bounds before there was anything that gained possession inbounds. I think this one's overturned as well.
Well, if it stands, it would be his first touchdown catch of his Clemson career. And it appears that left foot came down first, and he's out of bounds.
Yeah, I think the left foot is out. I had it right foot, but left foot is out. But you're right. And well-thrown ball.
Ruling on the field is confirmed. Touchdown.
You've got to be kidding me. Wow. We were 100%, I swear, coming into this game. We've just gone 0 for 2 in a heartbeat.
Let's see if we can get one more look after the point after. I thought that left foot came down and was on the line.
Yeah, I think they may have seen, I thought it was simultaneously with the right foot that was slightly inbounds, but wow.
It appeared from the angle that we saw the left foot came down first.
Yeah, I thought so. Liggett's certainly happy about it, but Anish, you led me astray.
You know what? Maybe the right foot does get in just before.
I don't know about that.
I don't know if he had control there. Either way, the freshman with his first career score. Anish Shroff, Kelly Stauffer, Brooke Weisbrod, Jordan Leggett, his first career touchdown catch. They had to review it. They had to look at it. We thought it was going to be overturned. We were wrong. First of many times that's happened this season. And take another look. I guess his right foot maybe touchdown. We were looking at the aerial view first, and it appeared from that view his left foot came down first and came down out of bounds, but
let's just take ownership. We were dead wrong. I think the right foot does tap before the left foot goes down. I didn't think he was in possession of the ball before that left foot hit, but you know, that's the beauty of replay. It worked exactly right on that play, and you and I were exactly wrong.
We were wrong. John Armstrong from his own 1-yard line. And he's wrestled down shy of the 20. Tonight on ESPNU, an SEC battle between Florida and Kentucky. The Gators reeling with some injuries. Jeff Driscoll, the starting quarterback, out for the season. Dominique Easley, their starting defensive tackle and arguably the best player on that Gator defense, also out for the year. He tore his ACL in practice earlier this week. You think Kentucky might have a chance to pull off an upset?
I think Tyler Murphy, quarterback for Florida now, with Driscoll out, will hold his own. So I don't know that they lose anything offensively at all.
This is DeAndre Martin, and he picks up a first down for Wake Forest, a gain of 15. By far the Demon Deacons' best run of the day. Deacons only had 28 yards rushing before the play.
A lot of new faces in there for Clemson's defense, but Robert Smith, the safety that's in there now, is on the tackle. I think for Wake, you're just trying to find some things that work going forward, and that's what Jim Grody just needs to continue to work on with his offense, is get some semblance of confidence in something.
Second series for backup quarterback Patrick Thompson. He keeps it, sheds a tackle, and is brought down at the 38-yard line at 5.
Ball carrier. And nowhere with a tackle.
I do think that Thompson at quarterback brings a little more shimmy and shake when he keeps the ball as a quarterback.
You know, last year, Kelly, this was a Wake Forest team. They threw the ball all over the place. They had a pretty good quarterback and a veteran guy in Tanner Price. And Jim Grobe was telling us they've gotten away from running the football. And the emphasis this year was to run the ball again. But sometimes maybe it's just not in a team's DNA.
It's what you have under the hood, my brother. And right now they're struggling up front on the offensive line of scrimmage.
High snap. Here's Armstrong on the final play of the third quarter. And the true freshman takes it to the 49-yard line. A first down for Wake Forest. Demon Deacons looking for a little something before they leave Memorial Stadium in Death Valley. It's been all Clemson through 3 quarters. Let's take a look at our All-State good hands play of the game. We go back to the first quarter. Sammy Watkins on the receiving end of this throw from Taj Boyd. There was a flag on the play, pass interference against the defense on Bud Noel. Didn't matter. Watkins, the touchdown and a foul. And Sammy, 6 catches, 113 yards. Pretty good day in the books for number 2.
And it is in the books. We won't see number 2 again, but a tremendous talent, obviously. 6 for 113, that's not a bad. Look at that average, that'll work.
Watkins last year, remember the suspension to start the season. He was banged up, only played 1 game in the bowl game, 1 play in the bowl game. He's looking to bounce back after his freshman year. There was a lot to like about Sammy. Here's John Armstrong on the reverse, and he gets across midfield, a gain of 5. Now, we talked about Armstrong earlier representing a philosophy shift for Jim Grobe, the Demon Deacons head coach, now willing to play true freshmen.
Yeah, I think right now for Coach Grobe, it's about getting speed and getting athletes on the field in any way, shape, or form you can. You can see right there the true freshmen that have played. 01 through 12, 22 total, and already through 2013, he's played 11 youngsters.
Thompson's throw intercepted. Ben Boulware with the pick for Clemson, and the Tigers get it back.
I think it was Armstrong coming in from the slot position that sets down inside, and just an errant pass. Sometimes the young receiver moves a little, one more window than was anticipated, and then the interception. So it's miscommunication from one to the other, quarterback to receiver. Boulware was in the right place at the right time and looks up and something hits him in the chest, so he decided to catch it.
Cole Stout remains in the game at quarterback. The handoff to C.J. Davidson, and the walk-on, who had his first career touchdown in the 3rd quarter, picks up 4. Now you look at Clemson 2 years ago. They started 8-0, had that loss to Georgia Tech. Still ended up winning the ACC, winning the ACC championship, getting to the Orange Bowl, beaten badly in that game by West Virginia. Last year, expectations up a little bit, and really the only games that Clemson lost to were Florida State and South Carolina, 2 pretty good teams by the end of the year. And everything is sort of built to this season. You've got Taj Boyd, a 5th-year senior quarterback, Sammy Watkins, a junior, who's likely a 1st-round pick if he decides to leave. Chad Morris, the offensive coordinator. Every year when there's a coaching vacancy, his name comes up, and we could have some pretty big coaching vacancies at the end of this season with Mack Brown and Lane Kiffin on the hot seat. This sort of seems to be the window for Clemson where talent and experience kind of go together hand in hand.
Without question, Anish, I think you summarized it and framed it really well, and it really started 5 years ago. Hours after Dabo Swinney was named from interim head coach to head coach, he sat in the living room of a guy named Taj Boyd and said, you know what, my resume isn't very extensive right now, and I'm actually fighting against Mike Bellotti at Oregon and Jim Tressel at Ohio State, but hey, I have an idea. I have a vision. If you come to Clemson, we can do something special. Well, this is the middle of the special right here. They have to get things going, peak at the right time, and they'll be right in the middle of the national title picture at the end.
A 1st down as Jermon Hopper gets the pitch from the quarterback. Taj bought the vision from Dabo Swinney, and you know, when Swinney told him, I'm going to build this program around you, Boyd has become not just the face of Clemson football, but you can argue he's one of the marquee guys in college football, and certainly the face of the ACC this season.
Oh, without a doubt. And nice job right there by Stout throwing to his check down receiver, DJ Howard, number 22. You can see the ball placement by Stout. Very, very nice to watch. Smooth release, but yeah, Taj Boyd, number 10, comes, and then the recruiting pitch for the next 3 years is, hey, I have this guy. He's number 10, and he's pretty good. Want to come and play with him. In comes DeAndre Hopkins and Sammy Watkins, and they're on the verge of something special if they can just maintain it.
Short gain by Howard again. It'll bring up 2nd down. Yeah, Watkins, part of the sell to Sammy was play with Taj Boyd.
You know, and don't underestimate, obviously, the line of scrimmage. We've talked about Dalton Freeman, the great center. It was a finalist for the Remington Award 2 years in a row, and he's not there, and you can see that he's missed up front. They went through 2 centers today. They bring back 4 starters, but they need that centerpiece, and they need it to play consistently well. That's the engine underneath the hood that has to get better.
DJ Howard, once a top track athlete, showed those hurdling moves as he picks up 7, 3rd and 1.
Guillermo is back in there again. Remember, he was in there early and gave up a sack to Nikita Whitlock. And then Ryan came in, Ryan Norton.
It's Daniel Rodriguez, the former Army vet inside the 5. Boy, if he scores, this place is going to erupt.
And take the top off. Great job, the touch pass. That actually is a forward pass, so Rodriguez gets a reception. I'll tell you what he's been through, he doesn't hesitate to duck his head and try to run into something. Same play, different side, and let Rodriguez get this one in the end zone.
That's Rodriguez in motion. He gets the call. Rodriguez fighting for those extra yards and stopped after a gain of 2, 2nd and goal. Think Dabo knows what he's doing? You think he knows what the crowd wants?
Oh, absolutely. And I would ride this horse until it fell over. And you just have to, I think, give it to him on the wide side of the field and block up inside and let his speed get to the corner. And right now, he is on the short side of the field with all of this room to run if they give him the football.
There it is, Rodriguez in motion one more time. Breaks 1 tackle, dives forward. No signal just yet. 3rd and goal.
All right, this is what I do then with Rodriguez. I go wildcat, direct snap, and let him just carry it between the tackles. I mean, everyone in the stadium, let alone on Wake Forest defense, knows that 83 is going to try to get the ball right here.
Yeah, there's no question. Dabo Swinney wants to get Daniel Rodriguez, a winner of a Purple Heart, a touchdown. And boy, what a moment that would be. 12th play of the drive. Diving into the end zone is C.J. Davidson for his 2nd score, and Clemson tacks on 6 more.
That was worth the price of admission right there. The only thing that would have been better is if Rodriguez, number 83, could have scored. But great opportunity or great try by Dabo Swinney and Chad Morris trying to call plays to get number 83, Rodriguez, into the end zone.
And that's something, Kelly, we talked about earlier. Clemson liking to play a lot of guys. They want those walk-ons like Rodriguez. They want the backups, the 2nd and 3rd stringers, to stay engaged and stay involved. And he tried to reward number 83. Didn't quite work out, but the kid who scored, C.J. Davidson, a walk-on, a local product. His first 2 career touchdowns have come today. Celebrating its 9th year sponsoring the Good Hands Field Goal Nets, Allstate makes a contribution to participating universities' general scholarship funds. For each field goal and extra point kick to date, Allstate has donated more than $3 million in scholarship money. Clemson tried to get Daniel Rodriguez a touchdown on that last series. Gave it to him 3 times inside the 10-yard line. Couldn't quite get in, but he's one of the best stories in college football. Game Day did a great feature on him last year. He served in the U.S. Army from 2006 to 2010. Several tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. He earned a Purple Heart and a Bronze Star for his contributions to our military and was heroic in the Battle of Kamdesh, one of the bloodiest battles over in Afghanistan. Came to Clemson on the GI Bill, and that was sort of a promise that he and those in his battalion made to each other, those that survived the Battle of Kamdesh. They said they would follow their hearts, do what they love to do, and for Rodriguez it was get a degree and play football, and he's doing that at Clemson. John Armstrong across the 25-yard line, and there is a flag on the play.
Going to be a late hit on Armstrong skating down the sideline, out of bounds about the step before, and then got the wood taken to him.
Ball, personal foul, number 36, on the kicking team, 15 yards, first down.
Yeah, Armstrong is making the attempt to go outside, and I don't think the player actually is Williams, number 36, coming up late, actually trying to hold up.
Clemson fans may want to listen. We've got a studio update coming after this play on LSU and Georgia. Gain of 4 that time by Tyler Cameron. Let's check in with the studio.
All right, Anise, thank you. Let's update LSU and Georgia. LSU down 27-20. Zach Mettenberger finds Jarvis Landry 39 yards. Mettenberger 3 touchdowns on the day, ties it up moments ago. Georgia had to punt. LSU muffed the punt. You see the Chucky doll Dante Fowler is carrying. That's normally carried by Dominique Easley, the Florida defensive star out for the season. Fowler carried it on Florida Kentucky's next.
Joshua Wilhite to the 45-yard line. Thank you, Dari.
I had Jared Williams, number 36, on that penalty, but it was actually the kicker and Eamon Lakecup that came in late, and you could see him trying to pull up, but he just couldn't pull up in time.
I'm getting ahead of myself here, but let me throw out a hypothetical scenario with the LSU-Georgia game going on. Let's say Clemson gets by Florida State and somehow able to get by South Carolina in that regular season finale. They're able to run the table, and let's say Georgia comes back and beats LSU. The only tough game remaining for Georgia on its schedule is a home game against Florida. They have weathered their gauntlet, which was in September. Well, Georgia, if they run the table starting from this LSU game going forward, they'd be in the SEC championship game. Now, if you have Georgia winning that game, you're looking at a one-loss SEC champion. And before the season, we sort of said to ourselves, if there is a one-loss SEC champion, there's no way they get frozen out of a BCS championship game. But if Georgia's that one-loss SEC champ, and Clemson is undefeated out of the ACC, and there's an undefeated Pac-12 team, and Clemson has beaten Georgia head-to-head. I'm just saying, does that mean the SEC is frozen out of a championship game, or do we have a controversy for all controversies?
I didn't even know that you were going to end up there, but that's an interesting point, because
I'm just saying, it may never happen. There's a lot of football to be played.
7 national championships in a row, and you don't have that conference represented. I think you're exactly right. The scenario that you painted would prove whether we're just going to say SEC's in the game and then who else is joining them. That would be the test. But you're right. It's all about Georgia's ability to add to Clemson's resume if indeed Clemson can run the table.
Wake Forest able to recover the fumble there. Yeah, again, we're talking in hypotheticals. It's the great thing about college football. You can get in all these what-if scenarios, and over the season, those scenarios actually play out on the football field, but it's conjecture at this point.
That's exactly why the theme of this game was for Clemson's offense to come in and start looking like the number 3 team in the country.
And they've looked every bit that part.
They really have, and that's what they have to do every week, because they're fighting an uphill battle perception-wise nationally versus what the SEC does.
Tony Stewart, the tackle in the backfield. Here's why the perception of the ACC has not been so positive over the years. The ACC hasn't had a team in the BCS championship game in more than a decade, and Florida State's the only team from that conference to have played in the BCS title game, 99, 2000, and 2001, and since then the ACC's been frozen out. But Kelly, I'll argue this season you've got the SEC, the Pac-12, and the ACC has probably been the 3rd best conference in America.
I agree 100%. I think you're exactly right on with that. And ACC's challenge is to make sure that they present something that is palatable nationally week in and week out. And Clemson's at the head of that class. Clemson, Florida State, like you said.
And I think part of the problem the ACC runs into, even when this is a season where it appears the ACC is better than years past, past is prologue. You're still fighting all the history. You still got to hear about the SEC and its 7 titles. Oregon and Stanford's success over the last few years in the Pac-12 being perennial teams in BCS bowl games. Daniel Rodriguez back deep to receive this punt for Clemson. And he's able to field it, get across the 20-yard line, and Rodriguez taken out of bounds at the 29. Will number 83 get into the end zone before the day is done? That's the only mystery left in Death Valley.
ESPNU College Football All-State Game of the Week. Brought to you by Allstate Insurance, proud supporters of college football. Are you in good hands?
Anish Shroff, Kelly Stauffer, Brooke Weisbrod. Clemson using its third quarterback of the game. Chad Kelly makes an appearance. He is the nephew of Hall of Famer Jim Kelly. And a fumble on the exchange. C.J. Davidson couldn't hang on. Kelly able to recover. Second down. Kelly tore his ACL last spring. He's recovered. And freshman from Niagara Falls, New York, getting a chance here in mop-up duty for the Tigers. Wes Forbush picks up 4 yards for the Tigers. It'll bring up third down.
The thing you see out of Clemson, obviously, they continue to run the same scheme. And the way they get to the perimeter with, it's not just a screen game, it's the timing of the screen game. They're confident in it. They throw the ball accurately, and then the guys get right downhill in a heartbeat to catch the football.
That's Davidson, and it's fourth down. Nine carries, 25 yards for the walk-on C.J. Davidson. He's had a couple of touchdowns. Been a complete offensive effort for Clemson. 567 total yards, 400 plus through the air, almost 160 on the ground. Ammon Lackip on to punt it away for Clemson. And here's Jared Crump. And Crump erased immediately. That's Bashad Breeland on the tackle, the starting cornerback. So Clemson still using starters on special teams. 3:35 to go in the fourth.
Welcome back to Clemson. Well, 73 players have already been inserted into the field and played today for Clemson, and it's something that Dabo Swinney believes a philosophy. He says it's important to give everybody a chance to shine, but defensive coordinator Brent Venables said it took some time getting used to it because it went against everything he knew. He wasn't used to playing guys past his second or third team, but he said Swinney was right to do it, and the morale of the entire team is lifted as a result. He said guys are more excited in the locker rooms when it comes to meetings. And Anish and Kelly, I know it makes for a little more work for you guys, but I'm sure parents at home are so excited to see their son play on national TV.
Yeah, I totally agree, Brooke. And we're obviously deep into the double numbers and all those things. But an interesting thing that Brent Venables told us is that he watched this program from afar, and he said, you know, the innocence in which they play, he wondered where that came from. And then when he got here, one of the things is what Brooke just talked about, the willingness and the desire for Dabo Swinney to keep up the morale across the face of his program by playing a ton of guys that work their tails off in practice, and it works extremely well. Brent Venables is a big believer in it now.
Brent Venables came from Oklahoma, and he said what Dabo was telling him, you got to play all these guys. And you know, right now they're emptying the bench because of the score, but that philosophy holds true if it was 21-10 right now. Wouldn't matter. The goal is to get guys in early. And when Brent Venables first got here, it was almost like, hey, this isn't how I'm used to doing things. This isn't how it's done in college football. This is sort of the aberration, the exception to the rule.
Yeah, he said that, you know, on a 3rd and 8 later in a game, he said, typically I'd be thinking of down and distance, what's my call? And instead here I'm thinking of, okay, who do I need to get in the game next? I think that's a great thing. I think it could, that philosophy from Dabo Swinney could help us hit the reset button across college football, where it's such a mega million-dollar business right now, and we take our eye off of the important things, which is student athletes having the proper experience. And Dabo Swinney and his group here do a fantastic job with that.
You look at Clemson, it's a program that hasn't won a championship since the 1981 season, but being around their coaches, their players, and their facilities yesterday. You just sense a positivity in this program. There's Rodriguez. And he's to the 33-yard line after a short return. There is a penalty marker on the play. Flag has been waved off. We'll step aside. 2:03 left in regulation.
Dorinoka in studio. It tightened up in South Bend. Oklahoma's lead on Notre Dame just 6, 3rd and 3 from their own 46. Blake Bell, Sterling Shepard, and look at the speed for the young man from Oklahoma City. 35-21 Sooners in the 4th. Don't forget, coming up 7 o'clock Eastern time, Luchez Purifoy in Florida at Kentucky. They've beaten the Wildcats 26 straight times. Anish?
Well, the Clemson Tiger has been a busy Tiger today. 196 push-ups. The way it works, every time Clemson scores, the amount of points they have at that time, that's how many push-ups you've got to do.
Okay, so first of all, those aren't really push-ups. Those aren't complete push-ups. Well, you know, I'm not giving him a full push-up.
You get up past about 100.
Yeah, you're right.
He's mailing it in. I'm not going to knock him.
I'm not either. I'm sorry about that.
Well, Clemson, a few season highs today in points, total yards, and passing yards. We talked at the top of the broadcast. This was a game where the coaching staff felt the offense had a chance to get in sync, get in a rhythm, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I think for the most part, that's exactly what happened. I think as Dabo Swinney told Brooke going to halftime, there were some 3-and-outs after they went 3 straight drives in the first half to score, and they don't like that. However, I think that Taj Boyd and his playmakers are working well together. I still don't like what I see up front, quite frankly. There's a lot of good defensive fronts down the road that Clemson is going to have to play well against. They need to find the rhythm up front mainly, and then no holds barred for the rest of the crew.
Ahmed Williams into the game at running back as Clemson looks to exhaust this final minute here in regulation. So going forward, the O-line, still a big question mark for you in terms of Clemson reaching its full potential.
I think it is in the pass game as well as the run game. Taj Boyd avoids a lot of negative plays for his team because of the leakage both in the pass and not sorting out the look run, and therefore their run game isn't as dynamic as it has the potential to be.
And Kelly, for Wake Forest, this was a tall order, a team struggling going into one of the most hostile environments in all of college football. They lose 56-7. What's next here for the Demon Deacons and Jim Grobe?
I think Jim Grobe coaches his players well. I think they're actually well coached. They don't have enough talent, obviously, in that program currently. That's why you see the young players that are playing. But Jim Grobe is one of the classiest guys on the face of the planet, not just in college football. His guys won't give up.
Yeah, it's been a tough go for Wake today. They get NC State next week at home. We've got a timeout here with 2 seconds to go on 4th and 3. It's Taj Boyd, who knows everybody, conversing with some of those fans in the front row. Following our game here on ESPNU, Florida takes on Kentucky. The Gators without starting quarterback Jeff Driscoll. He's out for the season. So junior Tyler Murphy gets the start. Florida and Kentucky, 7 Eastern tonight on ESPNU. The Gators also without Dominique Easley, their top defensive player. And Taj Boyd, what a magnificent game he had today. 17 of 24, 311 through the air to go along with 3 touchdowns, 69 yards rushing, and he also ran for his score. This was a complete effort from Clemson, a tour de force, and the Tigers remain unbeaten and remain in the conversation for that national championship. Final score from Memorial Stadium, Clemson 56, Wake Forest 7. Sports Center U is next. They'll have an update on Florida State and Boston College. We now send you to the studio and Dorinoka.
All right, Anish, thank you much. No problem for Clemson. 3 unanswered touchdowns in half number 2 to wrap up a 5th.